What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. If you guys are new here, my name is Eamon. This is my 2023 BMW M3 competition. If you guys aren't new here, you'll know that I've owned this car for a few months now and I've been modding it and doing stuff to it. However, there's some stuff that I did to the car that I never talked about. It wasn't a secret, but I just never made a video about it. So it is no secret that a G80 M3 is not a cheap car. This car actually specifically cost me about $97,000. So it's almost like a $100,000 car. And honestly, with taxes, it was even more than a $100,000 car. So with that, I wanna make sure I protect it, I keep it safe. So to start off, one of the obvious things, guys, you can tell this car is tinted and the window tints are honestly pretty dark. I get a lot of questions because I never really talked about this in any videos. So the front windows, these windows, and the rear windshield are all 5%, pretty dark. And then for the front, I have 35%. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I actually don't like window tinting my cars. I prefer the fishbowl look and I prefer to not have issues with window tints. Like I said, I want to protect this car and make sure that it stays safe throughout the elements. Although this car does spend a lot of time in a garage, sometimes like today it's outside. I'll take it to car shows where it sits outside for a long time. And as you guys know, the sun gets really strong and it can really impact your interior. Now, if you guys don't know already, I have white ivory interior in this M3. It is absolutely beautiful and stunning. So I want to make sure that this interior and all the leather inside is protected from the sun as much as possible. Now, obviously, it being indoors away from the sun is going to be the best thing, but for the times that this car is outside, I'd rather have these window tints. Now, I don't think I mentioned before, these aren't just normal window tints. They're not the cheap stuff. This is the high quality ceramic window tints. So these window tints actually help reflect UV rays. So this should help with the sun. Now, obviously, I want to protect all of the interior, but something that made me really get these window tints specifically is I have the extended leather. So if you guys don't know what that means, I have a leather dash right over here, whereas on other cars, it's going to be Sensitech. And the dash is something that the sun really hits and really impacts because obviously it's just like laying flat. It's right underneath the windshield. So if you guys don't protect it, over time, it can start to dry out and crack. So that was a big reason why I got these window tints. Now, obviously, I can't go like super dark on the front windshield, but I think 35% is as dark as I'm pretty much willing to go. So I do think that will again help protect the dash as well as everything else, because with that extended leather, you also have leather door cards up here, whereas again on other cars it's going to be Sensitech. So these window tints should really help protect the car's interior and obviously give some other benefits. It makes it look cooler, I'm not gonna lie. And then also you get the privacy, which I don't really care for all that much, but it's still nice to have. So I know not everyone is a fan of window tints and some people are gonna disagree with me on this, and that's totally fine. It's just how I chose to protect my M3, specifically the interior of the car. Now, is it gonna make the interior bulletproof? Absolutely not, but this should definitely help for the times that the car is outside. Again, for the most part, I try to keep it indoors inside a garage, but when it can't be in a garage, I'll at least have these window tints. Like honestly, even just taking it to shows, like at the Keys show, it sat outside for like 5-6 hours. So even just for times like that, these window tints should help. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is PPFing, and that's something that a lot of people have asked me about. So a lot of YouTubers, when they get these cars, they PPF them right away, and honestly, it's a great idea, especially if you're planning on owning these cars long term, because PPF is a great investment for a brand new car like this. However, it is very, very, very expensive. I've heard people spending like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 just for clear PPF, which to me is just not worth it, because honestly, as much as I love this car, I don't know if I'm going to keep it forever. The point is, a full PPF for me just is not worth it considering the cost. Now, something I did consider is something that I did on this 435, and that is like a pre-cut front end clip, because that's a part of the car that's most susceptible to like rock chips and damage when you're just driving it day to day. You guys can actually probably see the line right there. So it has it on the bumper, on part of the hood, on part of the fender, and I think that's pretty much it. I should have done the mirror caps, but I change them so often that I didn't really care. So this car is protected on the front end. So I did consider doing that for this M3. However, there's a reason that I didn't. So I'm gonna try to do my best to give you guys a good view of the front end here, but the front end of this car has already changed a lot. So that was one reason why I didn't PPF it. And another thing is the front end is gonna be changing a lot again. You guys can probably guess what it is, but I'm not gonna say it just in case you guys don't know. So to me, to PPF the front end, which is gonna be changing, just seemed a little silly. And then not only that, this one is no secret, but I mentioned to you guys at some point that I got a black car intentionally because I wanted to wrap the car. So if I'm gonna be wrapping this car a different color, it doesn't make sense to fully PPF the car, and it doesn't even make sense to PPF the front end. So there's multiple reasons why I chose not to PPF this car. Now, it's not because I can't afford it, although it is expensive, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's because it wouldn't make sense. Like, I would literally PPF it, and then I'm kind of committed to that PPF. I can't change the color. And again, I got black not because I wanted to keep it black. I got black because it is a good color to wrap over. However, when I wrap this car, I'm not gonna be wrapping absolutely everything. You guys can probably guess what I mean by that. And if you can't, I have the carbon fiber roof on this G80 M3. So no matter what I do in terms of wrapping this car, I'm never going to be wrapping that roof because it doesn't make sense. It's carbon fiber. It's absolutely beautiful. Like if I wrap the car white, for example, not the color I'm going to be wrapping it, but for example, if I wrap it white, I'd want to keep that carbon fiber roof looking like carbon fiber. I don't want to wrap it white. So that part is never going to be wrapped and it's always going to be what it is. And then something else, guys, again, it's carbon fiber. I want to protect this. For starters, from the sun, which you guys can see the sun is literally beaming right down on it. And then another thing is from rock chips, because you guys can see here, the roof kind of slopes down a little bit. So although, yes, the front end is going to be the most susceptible to rock chips, roofs are also susceptible to rock chips because, again, it kind of slopes down, so a rock can come and hit the roof like right over here. For the OG viewers on my channel, you guys will remember I went to go buy an F80 M3. I was actually this close to buying it. I put a deposit down on the car. I drove like 2 hours into New Jersey to get it. I was literally planning on walking away with that car that day. But when I went to go see it, it turned out it was a lot worse than I expected it to be. And there's a lot of things I was like, all right, I'll fix that. I'll repaint that. I'll change that. But the one thing that made me be like, nope, I'm not getting this car, was the rock chips on the carbon fiber roof. So I told myself whenever I get my own M3, whether it's an F80, whether it's a G80, I'm going to protect the roof and not let that happen to my car, because I can only imagine if I go to sell this car one day and someone sees a whole bunch of rock chips on the roof, what they're gonna say. They're gonna have the same reaction as me? Probably, and honestly, I think they should. So I'm kind of beating around the bush here, guys, but what I'm trying to say is I ended up PPFing the roof on this car. It's already done. I did it the same time that I did my window tints. So this roof is now protected from rock chips, from the sun, because this PPF, I believe it's Expel, it does protect from UV rays. Don't quote me on that part. Mainly, I wanted to protect it from rock chips. And then the next step is gonna be to ceramic coat it to further protect it. That, as well as other pieces on the car, which I didn't get to yet. You guys know I put a whole bunch of carbon fiber on this car, so I wanna protect all that carbon from the sunlight and all that, like including the side skirts, everything on the front end. You guys get the idea, because if you guys don't protect it from the sun, what will happen, it'll start to like dry out, it'll turn green. And I think there's a technical term for it. I can't remember off the top of my head. So in addition to the roof, I want to protect the rest of the carbon on this car, because although it's not OEM, it is still expensive. It is all from Keys Motorsports, so huge shout out and thank you to them for sending it to me. I want to make sure I take care of it. Now, I'm not saying that's everything that I want to do to protect this car. It's just where I started. There's a few more things that I want to do. Obviously, wrapping the car to an extent is going to protect it as well. And then additionally, I want to protect the interior of this car even further. But I just wanted to let you guys know about what I did so far, because I got a lot of questions on like, what tint did you do? Did you PPF the car? Do you plan on PPFing the car? So hopefully this answers those questions. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you drop it a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And yeah, with that said, this video is pretty much done, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.